Hi, my name is Reed Silverne. The name of this show is Fed Pride. The reason it's called Fed Pride is because I'm a federal worker and proud of it, retired. And today is Friday, October 31st, Halloween, and I'm not wearing a Halloween costume, although maybe I should have. But for you, it's Sunday, probably the 2nd of November, or Tuesday, the 4th. And if it is Tuesday, I suspect and I hope that you'll be out watching the election, or if you're sick of it, doing something else, but probably not watching my show. So that's the situation right now. Basically, I've made no bones about being a Republican, and in this year, a McCain supporter. I didn't vote for Bush in 2004. I did vote for Clinton in 92 and 96, so I have voted the other way. I'm not hardcore either way, but I've always been a friend of McCain. I've lived in Arizona for 15 years. I've always voted for McCain, and I think he's a great guy, and I like him. I think he's done some things that he hasn't gotten credit for. Among them is probably the decision that he made that lost him this election if he loses. And that is that he is going to accept, he made a pledge to accept public financing, and he did. He's one of the designers of public financing, and I think Obama's raising $600 million, vast sum that is absolutely ridiculous and uncontrolled. And as a result, I think that public financing is dead. Nobody will ever do it again. After all, the Republicans are the ones who've always been against it. Kind of shows that McCain really isn't a standard Republican. And even though it was obviously against his interest, he still kept to his word. Now he's being outspent 4, 5, 6 times to 1. A lot of Obama says that he's collected $458 million on the internet, over $150 million from the same special interests as anybody else. Among them, $52 million from the unions, and probably somewhere between 20 and 25 million from the finance industry, the same folks that gave us the crisis that we're in today. Is that a crime? No, it isn't. Is McCain taking money from the same folks? Yes, but you'd expect Obama not to, or to refuse to. So Obama's also, as part of his finance company receipts, he took about somewhere between $3 and $4 million, 73% of Goldman Sachs' $5 million budget to buy the election, to buy the bailout. And you'd think that that's only 0.5% of his total, and that he would give it back or at least be embarrassed about it. But apparently that's not the case. So what do I think about Obama if he wins? Well, I certainly hope that he's going to be similar to Clinton. I voted for Clinton twice. I really do think that a moderate Democrat who's responsible on fiscal issues and who's not an outright redistributionist can really be good for this country. And no matter what anybody says, during the 8 years of Clinton, he went from large deficits, probably as large in proportion as we have now, all the way to a balanced budget. And he did it with a good economy. He didn't ruin the economy, although there were some excesses, and some of the excesses led to this particular crisis we have now, one of which is the Commodities Modernization Act of 2000. Let's see if we can get rid of that. And that's the one that caused the finance industry to be able to issue phony derivatives, cheat, steal, lie, and put us into credit crunch. Well, the credit crunch is virtually over. Right now, the overnight London interbank, the London LIBOR, London interbank, I've always been saying organizational rate, but I know that's not the right thing. or operating rate. But the LIBOR has gone from 4% for an overnight loan from one bank to the other. Basically, every time you take money out of the ATM machine, your bank is borrowing money from the bank that owns the ATM machine. That is LIBOR overnight money. A month or so ago, that money cost 4%, made it almost impossible for the banking system to work at all, froze all lending, and really came very close to a Great Depression. Now it is 0.4%, 0.4%. So this isn't to say that the credit crunch is over. This isn't to say that all the banks are lending everything they should. They are not. However, it is a great improvement in the flow of money and the flow of capital. And it probably means that now we're going to go from what was pretty much online to becoming the Great Depression 2 to being nothing more than a serious recession. By serious, what do I mean? 8% unemployment, possibly 9%, a lot of weak companies going under, a reduction in exports, flight of money to the dollar, and possibly a moderate deflation in commodity prices. That we've already seen that. We saw the finance industry abuse the commodity markets because they were deregulated and because they were issuing these weird derivatives with commodity swaps and all kinds of bizarre instruments. And the price of oil, for instance, went from the in the $60 in 2005 all the way a few months ago, topped out at $147 a barrel. $147 a barrel represents the price of oil if there's a drastic reduction in international movement. Basically, a closure of the Straits of Hormuz would cause that, and it was caused by simple, outright, fraudulent greed. Nobody's gone to jail yet, but I'm hoping that somebody will. Actually, the commodity prices partially became under control because the CFTC was given the ability to monitor who was manipulating. And in one case, they did find a Swiss company cornering 30 times the output of West Texas International Oil, 57 million barrels for a market that is approximately 3 million barrels a day, and forcing the price up $16 over a period of 2 sessions. So obviously fraud, but the finger was pointed. And now, over a period of about 2 months, price of oil has gone down all the way down to its equilibrium price in the $60 a barrel. So that's a good thing. Well, it is and it isn't. All the other commodities that were forced up, forcing food riots, starvation, who knows what else, those have come flying down. And the prices of metals have come flying down too. If they stop at the equilibrium prices of 2005, depending on what the relative supply and demand is, then I'd say, we just got the cheats and the liars and the thieves out of the commodities market. But if it keeps on going down, it's an indicator not of recession, but of depression. And I'm hoping that won't happen. I personally feel that the threat of the Great Depression is almost over. There's only one more thing that could spark it. One of Obama's ideas, by the way, two things that can spark it. One is to have a moratorium on foreclosures, where basically people that are upside down in their mortgages or anybody else can just stop paying for a few months. That would collapse a few banks and force the other banks and mortgage companies to distrust each other, and that would force another new credit crunch. I'm hoping that that idea that was floated, which is, I have to admit, stupid, doesn't occur, and it doesn't look like it will. So the question is, first of all, 2 questions. If you're watching on Sunday, who's going to win the election? Because I'm here on Friday. Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't look good for McCain. The poll of polls right now, according to Real Clear Politics, shows Obama up 6.5 points, with Obama already at 50%, and McCain at only 43.5. The undecideds could all vote for McCain, and it would just be even Steven. Rasmussen, which is a pretty reasonable poll, they do a poll every single day, has found a tightening in the race, but this tightening of the race results in Obama at 51% and McCain at only 47%. That leaves only 2% undecided. So unless somebody goes and who's saying they're voting for Obama, then switches and votes for McCain, it looks like Obama has the popular vote. The other ones are a lot heavier for Obama. The Gallup polls, +9 for Obama. Zogby poll, of course, Zogby has always been more of a pro-Democrat, +7. The Washington Post ABC poll shows Obama 9% ahead, and CBS News, Obama 11% ahead. They've basically written McCain off completely. So is all the drama over? Is McCain done? Well, it sure looks like he's in trouble. Even Rasmussen, which is the most moderate of the polls, shows Obama with 260 sure electoral votes. As you should know, America doesn't vote directly for president. Each state casts electoral votes in the total of the senators plus the congressmen from that state. So if California has 41 congressmen and 2 senators, it'll get 43 electoral votes. And then there's an extra electoral vote for the District of Columbia, which actually doesn't have any congressmen or senators. And then there's another couple for the territories, I believe. So instead of 535, you have 538. So this particular Rasmussen collection shows Obama at 260 sure votes, McCain at 160 sure electoral votes, and 178 in the toss-up. The Real Clear Politics shows Obama at 311 sure votes, 238 solid and 73 leaning. McCain at 132 votes, 127 solid and 5 leaning, and about 95 toss-ups, which would make it impossible, basically, for McCain to win. So what has to happen? There either has to be an incredible tightening over the week, or a lot of people that are saying I'm for Obama aren't telling the truth. So we'll find out. I suspect on Tuesday, and I don't know, and I'm certainly no prognosticator or fortune teller, but I think that the popular vote's going to be a lot closer than people think, on the order of either 52-48 or 51-49, at the most 53-47, which means that even if Obama wins, he's going to have to extend a helping hand to the people who aren't against him. Because it looks very, very much like the Republicans are barely going to hold on with 41 Senate seats, almost for just as a quirk, because only 1/3 of the Senate seats every 2 years is up. But the Republicans had like 3 times as many open seats this particular cycle as the Democrats did. So they're much more at risk. So the Republicans could end up with 41. Apparently the Democrats are doing really well in the House, according to the polls. So we may have a one-party government, just like we haven't had that since the Clinton's first term, or the first half of his first term, from 92 to 94. And then, well, we had it with Bush from 2000, 2006. Now, up to now, every time we have had this one-party government, we've had a complete and utter disaster. And the party in power during that absolute power period usually overreached and resulted in losing the Congress within a season or two. Clinton in 1992 tried to get the universal health care through, also just appeared to be more liberal than he was. In my opinion, Clinton was really a Southern, balanced the budget, blue dog Democrat. He really wasn't extreme in any way. Actually passed a welfare bill that basically took a lot of people off of welfare and disestablished some of the great society that Johnson had put together in the 1960s. So he was a pretty moderate president, and also a master of economics. He understood economics himself, and there were collapses and threats to the economic system during the 90s that were just as serious as we just went through, as the credit crunch we just went through. The worst probably was almost disastrous collapse of most of the currencies in Asia. The result was could have been a Great Depression. The South Korea, which has the 13th largest economy in the world, was 6 hours from completely running out of all currency reserves, and that would have resulted in a default of every loan that South Korea had with any other bank, with any other country. And that would have led to a disaster. Same thing with Mexico during that period. The peso went down by 50%. The Russian ruble collapsed. And the Secretary of the Treasury at the time, whose name is Robert Rubin, who I hope is on Obama's team, because he was the great expert between him and the Federal Reserve Chairman, reliquefied the world economy during that period of a couple years, and basically over and over saved the world economy from going into a Great Depression. I hope that they're busy today, and I hope that they're in Obama's inner circle, because to be honest with you, I don't know who Obama's inner circle is. I don't know whether Obama is really as middle of the road as he presents himself. I certainly hope he is, or if Obama is way off to the left and going to become massively distributionist and basically start massive infrastructure projects and confiscatory taxes. It's hard to say. I do have a little summary of the two tax plans, which the New York Times was kind enough to put in. The New York Times, when they set up the table, set it up so that no matter what it actually meant, Obama's plan ended up helping people with under 100,000 and McCain's didn't. Kind of a weird deal, because when you actually read through the details, what they didn't do is they didn't count the McCain $5,000 tax credit, which is pretty much covering every household. There's not a household in the world except for the people on Medicare or possibly Medicaid who don't qualify for the $5,000 tax credit. That $5,000 tax credit, as the New York Times points out, doesn't give you $5,000, because McCain actually tried to pay for the $5,000 health insurance tax credit by charging tax on health benefits that are paid for by your employer. So they have an example of a person making $35,000. Under current law, he pays $1,296 in taxes. Obama, he pays $794. And McCain, he pays $936. But if he just happens to have or need health insurance, he gets a $4,000 net tax credit if he doesn't have employer-paid health insurance, and in $2,500 he still gets $5,000, but he pays some of that back. Tax credit if he does have employer health benefit. So what that really means is that Obama reduces his $502. McCain reduces his if the person has an employer health benefit by $2,800. So it all depends on how you read it and how you make that top row. But the New York Times made sure to have Obama's system really, really look a lot better than McCain's. 50,000 married filing jointly with 2 children and 2 earners. Current law, a person will pay $772. Obama pay minus $232. They get all their money and $232 back. McCain, this $50,000 adjusted gross income family with 2 kids, they pay $51. But McCain, even if the person has employer tax benefits or health benefits, he's really getting $2,900 or $3,025 back. Do I really think that people ought to pay negative taxes? Well, somebody's got to pay for it. Some of the things that Obama's offering, $500 tax credit per household for low-income people, $1,000. Family can pay no income tax at all, get an extra $1,000 back under his plan. The other thing that Obama's going to do is if you have college-age kids, and for those who have college-age kids, you might want to think about voting for Obama. So he wants to give you a $4,000 tax credit for the first 2 years of college or the 2 years of community college, which would be a big benefit, basically enough to pay for community college for your kids. But the thing that kind of gets me a little bit, as I am a senior, is that Obama wants to eliminate taxes for those over 65 with income of less than $50,000 a year. And according to the New York Times, it also eliminates taxes, and that's filing singly. So what does that mean? That means that everybody is going to be completely subsidizing all taxes on the elderly, and I'm sure the AARP just loves that. I'm sure that they're right there with Obama. How is he going to pay for that? Well, he's going to pay for that by getting rid of the tax benefits from the age of Bush, and that doesn't really add up. Because people making over $500,000, according to the New York Times, running through Obama's tax plan, family making $150,000 or $500,000, they're only paying $3,000 more. So there aren't that many families making $500,000. So I wonder how that extra $3,000 is going to pay for $1,000 for every poor family who are already not paying income tax, and paying all the income taxes of the elderly, people over 65 making $50,000 a year or less. So that doesn't make any sense to me. And on top of that, if we add the Obama health plan, which is approximately an increase of somewhere between $250 billion or $400 billion a year, it makes it wonder where the money's coming from. The only other place the money could be coming from is capital gains, and people not paying a lot of capital gains or getting a lot of capital gains is an encouragement to invest. Or it could be the estate tax. The estate tax goes down to where there's only a shield of $675,000, approximately the cost of a moderate house in Philadelphia or California, and they end up paying 55% of their entire estate above the value of their house gone to pay for $1,000 tax credits for the poor. So I don't think that's going to balance either. There's got to be higher taxes. Thank you very much. Bye.